Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Driven by Christ Auto. So, Saturday afternoon, me and Jamie just got back from lunch, which we was going to go to Olive Garden, but we ended up not having time to go to Olive Garden. They had too long of a wait, so we went by Applebee's. You know, she smashed up on them barbecue bits, and I got some of the popcorn, or not popcorn, but the jumbo coconut shrimp. Man, dude, with some of that Hawaiian sauce, that was fire there. That sauce is so good. But anyways, the reason why we was kind of in a hurry to get back from lunch, one of my good friends called me up and said, "Hey man, I got a very rare car that I come across. I scooped it up. I need you to check it out." I'm like, okay, really, a rare car? I was like, what you got that's rare? Because I mean, I've been around a whole bunch of cars, and I know everybody remembers this car from Gran Turismo 3 A Spec in the beginning of the game. It was a little gray car, and it would just destroy everybody in your beginning races. Well, my friend found a Renault Clio V6 Sport. Very rare car. Now you imagine like a car smaller than a Honda Civic hatchback with the motor in the back, and it's got like a J series, J series V6 with a dual over, or just picture a Mitsubishi 3000 GT twin cam motor crammed into the back of something smaller than a Honda Civic. So, but yes, it is a Renault V6 Sport, and so I told him, I was like, yeah, bring it by the shop. I've already had to help, this turned out into a weekend of helping friends out, because we kept one guy from losing his job. Of course, me and him had a little talk about that one. I ain't gonna be doing that again, but anyways, and now I got another friend that is gonna be bringing by his Renault V6. So let's check it out. He left a message. I'll read it. He said, "Hey, I just got this little hatch. I bought this car thinking about commuting. I needed something small, but something that would give me the joy of driving. I bet a Renault V6, or I bet on." Okay, so basically he bought the Renault V6. It's small but agile and fast. Unfortunately, these cars are often victims to young, inexperienced drivers and look bad, to say the least. This specific car must have driven in some races. Yeah, I bet it was. It has been it it has its best times past it, but in general, it's not in the worst condition. You can tap it here and there. Okay, so it's got Bondo all over it. You know the drill. I see potential here. Appearance is not the key. All that matters is that you restore its former driving properties and performance. Good luck. Alright, so he's wanting us to restore the handling, go through the suspension and the motor. He ain't worried about the body, so I guess he's fixing to try to, make it look like a clapped out sleeper car. But dude, these things were fast. But anyways, I'm gonna get Jamie to go ahead and give him a call, and we will meet him out front. Alright, so he brought it by. I guess, he decided that he lives down a gravel road, so it's not too far down from here. So he didn't have very much of the highway to drive down, so he completely covered this thing in dust before he got here. So we are gonna have to clean this car off before I can bring it into the shop. Now remember, guys, I don't know if anybody remembers this thing, but Gran Turismo 3, I know if you played it, you remember getting just stomped by this car. Now here's the catch. Motor ain't up here. Motor's in the back of the car. It's sitting back here up underneath this cover. But let's go ahead and get this thing into the wash bay and actually see what this car looks like. Alright, we got her moved back here. Let's go ahead and fire up this pressure washer. Alright, let's see how it's going to turn out. Wow, I didn't even know the thing was white. It looked like it was a cream color. But anyways, this is a nice little car. It's actually in good condition. The body is in really good condition. So, well, except for the missing rear bumper. I don't know where that is, but But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and take care of the interior too while we got it back here. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that thing turned out good. Got a little bit of wear on the seats, nothing major. Steering wheel looks good, and it is a manual transmission. So that's all we work on here is manual transmissions. You won't ever see an automatic in here. But I'm seeing we got some brake stuff going on. Got a little bit of rust on them rotors, so it looks like we're going to need to do a brake job to it. Let's see. We'll open up the back hatch and whoa, dadgum, I'm gonna have to crouch down to get up in here. You know what? Let's go ahead and get this thing on the rack, 'cause I ain't trying to break my back here trying to bend over in this little car. This thing is smaller than a Honda Civic hatchback. So, and then imagine that with a V6 crammed into it. This thing is fast. So let's get it on rack one and I'll show you what we're working with. Alright, so we just got this thing pulled in. Let's go ahead and get the back end raised up. I'm going to go ahead and remove the trunk just so it's out of the way. Now, here we go. We can pull off this engine cover. Whoa, okay, I'm definitely seeing some problems going on here. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Oh, this one didn't even have the twin cam. Does it got the twin? Yeah, it does. It's got the twin cam. I thought it had a single overhead cam in it. I was fixing to say, man, they got cheated. It's basically based off of the 3000 GT motor, not the one with the single overhead cam V6, but the dual overhead cam. It don't have no turbos or anything like that. Lord Jesus, if it had turbos, this thing would be a death trap. But anyways, we're already seeing, you know, we got some suspension problems. Exhaust is just destroyed. Lower control arms, yeah, it's definitely going to need a brake job done. We got a bad fuel injection rail. I can already see it leaking fuel, so we're going to have to pull it out and re-O-ring it. And we got some stuff going on here. The throttle body needs to be cleaned up. It's all dirty and needs to be serviced. Oh no, this is a drive-by-wire. This thing may not be no good no more, but like I said, all I did was just kind of let it idle around in first gear. I never even gave it no gas moving it around. So anyways, I guess it's kind of weird. I'm used to starting on cars with the motor in the front. Let's get it up off of the ground and we'll get the tires pulled off. Alright, daggum, this car is just that low. Alright, so oh man, this mic is giving me so much problem. Alright, here we go. Alright, so rear, it definitely needs a brake job done. The rotors are shot in here. I hope I can even turn these. Let's get this tire off and see how bad the brakes are over here. Yeah, may not be turning these rotors out. But anyways, this little car is extremely rare. Because of Gran Turismo, everybody started buying these cars up, which this car was not made in the United States. It was made overseas. I want to say that Renault was, let's see. I'll do some, let me look up something on this. History of the Renault Clio V6 Sport. Alright, so let's see. Alright, so this car was race car inspired. The construction of a road-going car which resulted in the Clio V6 released in 2001. Whistler bears a striking resemblance to the road cars, was completely different, only sharing minor body parts. There were 159 cars built in between 99 and 2003, so that's how rare these cars were. There was only 159 of these things made. So, and it is actually a French auto manufacturer who built these. This is a French car. So, but that's still crazy rare. There's only 156 cars or of these cars ever made. Now, they got some kit cars that are like this, but to actually be able to get an official Renault was really rare. But the kit cars are just like them. I think some other company bought them out, but and they started making them because they realized the potential of a race car, because you don't have all the weight on the front axle like you would a rear wheel drive. So they put all your batteries, accessories, all your other stuff up here. They had almost a perfect weight distribution. Depending on the weight of the driver is really what made the difference about this car. So kind of like a motorcycle. But anyways, let's go ahead and get these brakes tore down, and we'll start getting that ready, and we'll check out everything else. But yeah, Jesus said, no, you ain't gonna be off this weekend. You gonna be working. I'm gonna teach you to show your little tail. No, it ain't like that. But it's just been a while. I ain't been making any videos, so I had two friends call me up. One of them was gonna lose his job. You just have to check out, the episode before this one. My boy working at the pizza place, man, he just don't know how to, calm down. I told him, I said, man, I ain't gonna be doing this stuff no more. But I'm really getting to enjoy on working on this Renault V6. I have, actually, this is the first time I've had one of these cars in the shop. There's quite a few of them around here. There's quite a bit of collectors, and like I said, there is a company that makes kit cars like this, and I've seen a few, but this is the first time we've ever had one in the shop, driven by Christ Auto. So this is definitely a treat here. But I'm over here ripping apart this par, and I ain't even looked at the work order yet. I bet you Jamie's wondering, what in the world is this dude doing? Like, he ain't even opened up his tablet yet to see what all is supposed to be done. He's just ripping apart people's cars. Nah, I know what's up, girl. But anyways, let's go over here and get these rotors start turning. Alright. Yeah, we was only able to save the front two, but that's okay. I got plenty of rotors in stock. So, get outside. Hold on, guys. I had to let the cat out. Alright, let me get this camera. Alright. So, anyways, yeah, let's look at that work order. Let's see. Oh, yeah, we gotta click on the car. Come on now. Alright, so work order. He is, okay, air filter, alternator. Boy, he got a whole shopping list here. Suspension, A and B, front axle, no, okay, there is a ton of stuff. Okay, so it looks like this whole car is just about gonna have to be rebuilt from the bottom up. I don't really see, okay, so he's gonna need a timing belt job done to it. We've seen a few things on the engine already, so alright, so full service. Oh no, I see piston rings. Okay, so we're going to be pulling the engine out. This car may not get done today. This may be going into a Monday thing. I didn't know he was going to want me to pull the whole motor out of this car. So, and it's a little bit tricky on these because you got this overhead deal, and trying to get the motor hoist in here and getting this engine out. This is going to be real not so fun. But you know what we may do? I may just drop the exhaust and get these axles out of the way, and we may just put the motor hoist through the back of the car, and I'll just pull the engine out of the bottom of it. That's what I'm going to do. We're going to drop the engine out the bottom. I ain't going to even try to come out the top with it. So, alright, so it looks like we got quite a bit of work ahead of us. So, let's get this thing down. We're going to go ahead and run a diagnostics on it. Don't need tires to do that. Alright, let's see. We'll pull this battery out, and we'll put a fresh hot battery in there, and we'll go ahead and put this one on charge while we're waiting. 82%. It was a pretty good battery. Alright, so let's see if, ooh, that's not good. We got low coolant. I remember he needed a timing belt. It may have a leaking water pump on it, because we have definitely got, and see, they also put the fuel tank, I'm sorry, my attention span is really short, so they put the fuel tank up front, the battery, the coolant, so you got a lot of weight up here. Coolant fan assembly, which these things have got hoses that are the length of the car, which is crazy, but it's got literally one of the longest coolant hoses on it. But anyways, so you can kind of see you got a lot of weight up here, you got a lot of weight in the back, and then you got your weight in the center. That makes equal weight distribution really good for race cars, especially on tracks. And you know, it's also good for the dig because you know, taking off, you got the majority of the weight is going to be the engine in the back, so that's going to give you traction for the whole shot, but it's not going to be very much more heavier than the front of the car, especially whenever you got a full tank of gas, which these had pretty big tanks on them just so they could have equal weight distribution. And they got, I mean, you could drive, I think it was, from what I researched on Google, you could drive almost 600 miles on a tank of gas because of how big the tank was. Now, it kind of made you cry filling it up, but you could drive for a good while on them. They wanted to do that. This car was meant to have a full gas tank up underneath racing conditions. So just kind of wanted to give some history on it, but we're going to go ahead and pull off this front bumper so we can get to this radiator here. Alright, cooling fan assembly, all that shot. I hope he didn't blow a head gasket in this car. Man, I know I just done it. Dude, I forgot it. I guess I did. I saw a little bit of coolant in there. I thought maybe it was drained all the way out. I didn't really leave the car running that long. So, I mean, if he drove, I guess it's my fault. Guess we'll break out the cat litter bags. We got coolant all over the floor now. Jamie, bring the kitty litter bags out here. You got a mess to clean up. But anyways, is she gonna ignore me? She ain't coming out here with them cat litter bags. I'm gonna be dealing with that later on. But anyways, let me see, what's the next thing? Let's, yeah, we'll go ahead. I'm kind of actually confused. I ain't worked on one of these, so it's a new experience even for me. We'll go ahead and pull the axles, and we'll get the exhaust out, and we should be able to pull this engine. So, I don't know what everybody else is doing on their Saturday, but we are definitely not doing what we was wanting today, but that's alright. You know, the Lord wants us to help our friends whenever they're in need. You know, now, I don't know, I don't like putting stipulations on it, because, you know, we should always be wanting to help people, but sometimes they just be doing stuff I wonder, like, why didn't you listen to me in the first place, and you wouldn't have had this problem that you were now wanting me to fix. Boy, that is my biggest pet peeve, son. I tell, you know, I warn somebody, hey man, I don't think that's a good idea to do it, and they're like, oh, well, I'm going to go ahead and do it anyways, even though you advised me not to do it, and then they do it, and then they come back to you crying, oh, I need help. Sounds kind of familiar, don't it? Kind of sounds like we got put in the Jesus category, because that's what everybody be doing. You know, I do it too. Be messing up and then coming right back and being like, look, you know, I'm sorry, Lord, I didn't mean to do it. You know, I act dumb again, and now, Lord have mercy. Are you kidding me? Jamie said he drove the car up here. Ooh. I did not hear that. See, with this engine cover, you don't really hear this engine with a factory exhaust, but I literally cranked this car up with no oil in it. It didn't even have an oil pan. I don't know how I didn't hear that. Well, looks like I'm going to be responsible for rebuilding this whole motor. I didn't realize that there was no oil in it. Man, he did not give me the history on this car. I thought he drove it up here. Yeah, so, yeah, it looks like I may have done a little bit of damage to this engine. I don't know, it kind of looked like it already been put through the ringer, but we gonna rebuild it anyway, so it ain't gonna matter. But yeah, cranked up the car without any oil in it. Didn't drive it very far, was only cranked up for just maybe a minute, long enough to roll it into the back, and then I shut it off. So I was wondering why I was smelling like burnt motor oil, but I was thinking it was coming off like the exhaust manifold or something. Let's go ahead and get it. We only got we got 4 motor mounts on here that attach it to this body. They do not have a subframe on this, so this car is extremely easy to work on. You can have this engine out in just a matter of seconds. Remove the gearbox. Okay, so on this one, it won't let you pull the gearbox at the same time. Alright, that's cool. I guess because my motor stand won't hold it because there is a gearbox attached to it. Alright, there's the starter. Go ahead and get it pulled off. Yeah, man, this transmission is gone. I never did, you know, try to go through any gears. It at least still had first gear. I don't know about the other 6 or 5. I don't know, this thing may be a 5-speed. He's got an aftermarket shifter in there, so it didn't, you know, it didn't tell me. So we're gonna go ahead and assume it's a 5-speed. But alright, we got that out of there. We can go ahead and pull this engine out. Dude, this is cool. I haven't seen a Renault V6 in a long time, and the body is like immaculate on here. Alright, let's get this motor out. Alright, we'll roll this thing on over here and we'll get it set up on here, and I'll be right back with you. So, yes. Alright, so we got this engine put up on here. Got the motor hoist moved back out of the way back there, back behind the car again, because I don't think we got too much left on the car. Most of it is on here, so we are going to have to order a lot of parts for this. This is a kind of a rare vehicle, and I do not keep parts for this car in stock, and I told him that. I said I probably would not be able to get finished with this today. You know, I'm having to break out PDF files, and I even got an old Chilton manual that I pulled up, and actually me and Jamie went by the, hold on, let me holler at this girl. She's over here out here digging around the garage. Jamie, what's the name of that bookstore that we go to? Books A Million, that's it. I was trying to think of it. We went by Books A Million, and they actually got some of the antique books and stuff. They got like a little, it's like a warehouse for Books A Million, but they had an old Chilton manual for a Renault, and I picked it up. So we got the manual for this car, so I can but I can tell you O'Reilly's don't have, I hope they got the parts for it, but considering it's a super hub, they should have the parts. So I really don't know what I want to do first. Do I want to do the engine? We'll save the best for last. We'll do the engine last. Let's go ahead and keep working on the suspension components, because surprisingly, a lot of these suspension components are the same one that they use on the a lot of the cars that we got. So it does have a subframe up front to hold this gas tank in, but that's crazy. The gas tank's so big it had to have a subframe for it. But they don't have one in the back. But a lot of the suspension components are universal through cars, so hopefully I do have a lot of this stuff in stock. So, but we still got to tear everything down. So go ahead and get this off. Pull the, I wonder if the wheel bearings are good. Wheel bearings are okay. They can be pressed back in and reused. Most of the time, whenever wheel bearings wore out, they normally fall apart whenever you try to get them out of the hub. But if they're still good, they'll stay together and they'll press out all in one piece. So that's good. We can reuse those wheel bearings. Alright, so let me look at this suspension top up here. I don't know. That's not looking, nope. We're going to be pulling this down. I'm going to have to rebuild some struts for it. get this out of the way. Alright. Looks like, let me see, we got, yep, same thing on this side. It's wore out too. There we go. This hub down. Break out some of that PB blaster, man. This thing's got a lot of rusty bolts on it. It's got a lot of rust all over it. I guess this thing, my buddy said he picked it up out of Florida, so yeah, there's a lot of salt water down there, so that's probably where all this rust come from, because you gotta think the moisture coming in from the ocean's got a lot of salt in it because it's salt water. But so we're gonna be using a case of PB blaster. WD-40 ain't cutting through this rust. So we got that stuff ready. We got it on lock over here. Alright. There we go. And to get to that fuel pump, we actually got to get inside of the trunk up here, even though it's the front of the car. Let me get this out of the way so I don't accidentally knock the car off the rack. We're letting it down on a motor hoist. That'd be my luck. Hey, call up my friend, be like, hey man, I knocked your car off the rack with a motor hoist. You know, we may have to talk some numbers. I would replace his car if I'd done that. Let's see. Alright, here we go. And then we got the access door. It's right through here. We can pull out this fuel pump. We'll go ahead and drain the fuel out of here too. Let me go ahead and do that before I get the drain tool out before I make a bigger mess somewhere else. We done already put coolant all over the floor up here. Guess there's no point in doing that since I done dumped it out. Okay, so, power steering reservoir is in the back. So, that's kind of crazy. I guess so, it would be closer to the power steering pump, so. That's a long power steering high pressure line going up front. Boy, I'd hate to have to replace power steering hoses and coolant lines on this thing. And we're going to go ahead and pull out the brake fluid too. We got the lines pinched off so they don't leak everywhere. Well, I got the calipers off of them. I got these little deals that you can screw up in there. It's like a nut, but it closes off the end of the line so it don't leak everywhere. Some little nifty stuff I made. Alright, let's see. I bet you this air filter is gone too. He said it had a lot of abuse of street racing. I guess so. It come out of Florida. They're all the time ripping cars down the highway over there. I've seen a lot of Supras and Sky. Oh yeah, this filter is gone. All right, so we'll put a K&N in there. We're gonna get this thing breathing good. All right. But you see, I've only pulled the engine. There's not very many more components on this car. This car would be really easy to rebuild, less parts, you know, less money it costs for upkeep. So this would actually be a pretty good daily. You know, I would take that, if it's based off of the Mitsubishi motor, I'd take it out and put a Honda J-Series motor into here because it made way more power than this, and then you really would have a death trap. But you would at least have the reliability with it too. So, alright, let's start breaking down the back suspension. But for the most part, oh, it's got double wishbone back here. Man, this thing, I bet you this thing could hold a corner. Oh, well, after we get this car built, we are definitely test driving this car. That's happening. Since it's not going to take me very long to pull it apart. That engine may take me a little bit to rebuild, but it'll be the first time I've ever built a Renault motor on here. Let's get this strut off. It needs new struts all the way around. Alright, it didn't tell me what the part was. I guess I'm going to have to break it down. Alright, and won't let me take that off. See, we'll use literally like 3 cans of PB blaster on this car, just trying to get it taken apart. But PB Blaster is good. I used it a lot working out in the oil field. If there was something rusty and WD-40 couldn't get it, PB Blaster and a blowtorch would definitely get it. So, just to kind of give you a little tip there, if you ever got a froze up bolt, you can soak it with PB Blaster and then hit it with a, now that PB Blaster gonna catch on fire if you soak it down. I'd let it soak for a few days and then go out there with a torch and heat it up. And I ain't saying you gotta get it glowing red, just apply some heat to it, man, that thing will come off. It'll come right on off of there. Because we used to have to do that on the old school 350 motors. We'd have to heat up the exhaust bolts and use penetrating oil to get them out without them breaking the bolts off into the head. Because boy, once you done that, you had problems. And you couldn't get an extractor down into there to get those bolts out. You had to pull the heads off of the motor and then do it on a workbench or pull the whole motor out. We never did do that. We just pulled the heads off of it. And, you know, went and had a head job done at a machine shop. You know, since you got your heads off of your car, you might as well take it to a machine shop and take a couple of thousandths off and bump your compression and go ahead and throw some bigger valves and stuff into them and get them to cut the head and machine them, and you can flow some more air. More air means more power. All you got to do is just add more fuel. Most cars naturally run rich anyways. That's the reason why they have to put catalytic converters on there. But let's see about this ABS module. It looks pretty good. I don't see nothing wrong with it. So looks like we got most of the suspension components off of here. Let's go see what we can fix for them. Alright, let's see. Alright, brake calipers as usual, just pull them apart, clean them, reseal the wheel cylinders on them. Nothing major. Keep rebuild kits, like I got bags of rebuild kits for calipers in the back, so as long as the rust didn't. Oh, look at there, we may be able to save his cooling fan housing, and we did. We was able to fix it. CV axles, just clean them out. Normally what I do with CV axles is I pull the boots off of them and clean out the whole needle bearing assembly with diesel, and then I repack them with new grease again, high temp wheel bearing grease, because that stuff gets hot whenever you got it in a bind going down the road. So you want some high temp wheel bearing grease. Doesn't break down, takes a lot more heat for it to get, you know, liquidy, because sometimes the axles be so hot that from friction, that if you got a broke boot, it'll sling grease all over the backside, up in the fender well, all over the transmission. You'll have grease from A to Z back there. Believe me, you'll know if you got a leaking axle boot. It shows its face pretty quick. Centrifugal force sends that grease to the outside of the boot, and then it slings it everywhere. So it looks like we was able to fix most of the suspension stuff. Some stuff we're gonna have to put on there new. Let's see if I can fix his strut assemblies. No, we're not joining parts. Oh Lord, I done got them all mixed up. I know the double wishbone was his and the shock absorber A. Alright, because they wasn't completely destroyed. This is what I'm supposed to be doing, you know, off camera time is doing my shop chores, and that's breaking down parts that, you know, I done pulled off of customers' vehicles. You know, they got new ones, so they're not worried about the old ones. I try to, you know, rebuild this stuff and have it. I mean, if it's new and it works, you know, it operates like new. I mean, I got some spray paint. I spray paint some stuff, make it look new. But this is also where we get our scrap metal from. Whenever I can't fix it, right into the Heaven Forge it goes. That's a big one. Melt it down, and then we you know, grind it up into our metal grinder, and we can use it in our electric 3D printer. So, our metal 3D printer, so we can build parts too. So it all comes into play, but we save all that for performance parts because once you grind it and you mix different metals by melting them down, you make alloys, which is stronger than some of the metals. Depending on if you know a little bit of chemistry, you can take regular metal and make it way stronger by forging it. So, but anyways, let's see if we got some rubber seals on his trunk that we needed to replace, and the front bumper just needed to be cleaned up and waxed again. So we did all that. We took care of that. So, and then I'm ready. I'm wanting to drive this thing. We got to order a back. Yeah, let's go ahead and tag this VIN number really quick, and let me let it down because I know that whenever I try to type this car in, it's going to be like, what? Well, I don't know if we got these body parts. Alright, so let's pull up our tablet now that we got the VIN here, body workstation, and yes, it pulled it up. So, right here, we are going to need a rear bumper. We know that for sure. We may have to paint it to match. I think it's probably going to come black, so we know we needed that, and I don't think there was any other body pieces. Let me check the work order. Just rear bumper, okay. Change oil, there was no oil in it. Refill, we're gonna do all the fluids. I got you there, dude. Alright, so we're gonna help my boy out, and we're gonna give him all fresh fluids. And you know, you want to, it's not just because these people are my friends. I treat all my customers like they're my friends, which they are. If they're, you know, they're nice enough to bring business to my shop, you know, I ain't just calling them up, you know, ask them, hey, when you gonna bring that thing by for an oil change so I can make some money off of you? No, I'm gonna talk to them. I'm gonna be like, what's up? You know, what's going on with the car? You doing any mods or, you know, stuff like that? Even though I do all their work for them, so I guess I would know that. But some of my customers, they actually do work on their own cars. Like, I know y'all remember the episode with Jessica's 350Z. She does her own stuff on her YouTube channel. She got a drift. She done turned that car into a drift car. I think the last time I heard, she actually wrecked it. So I don't even know if that car is even running. I ain't heard from them in a while. Like I said, I kind of fell off there for a little bit. Me and Jamie was acting up, and we got put in our place, but that's what happens. So let's go ahead and start working on this engine. I think we're done with the main body of the car. Now here it is, the grand finale, the Renault V6 motor. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull the intake down. Let's get around to it. There we go. Pull the throttle body. Throttle body's at 5%. I may not be able to bring this one back. But we're gonna see. We're gonna completely disassemble the motor, and I'm going to fix everything that I can, and then we'll just order parts from O'Reilly's as we need it. So yeah, we got some water that's done got down into here on the intake and rusted the bolts in. That's probably what got a hold of this injection rail too. Alright, we got it. Take it out. Let me check this work order one more time on this car before I go to building this motor, because he kind of acted like he wanted me to, nope, just everything all stock. I was hoping he wanted to, you know, put some spice in this thing, you know, kind of get a little bit more horsepower, but we're still going to rip this thing on the dyno to see what it makes. So let's go ahead and get the fuel system, rest of the fuel system taken off. And what next? We'll pull the lower intake manifold out. Got water all the way down here. And look how big the intake runners are. Those are huge. They look pretty clean. I don't see no no oil or anything where the positive crankcase ventilation's been dumping oil into the intake, so we ain't gonna have too much cleaning. But we're gonna go ahead and start working on the timing belt side now. This thing is crazy. These things were so hard to do timing belts on in the car, but you always got one cam gear that wants to turn and get it past its mark, and that ain't what it's supposed to. I know I'm gonna need this belt for sure. I know that. Let me, you know what? Let me pull up my tablet real quick. We'll get to the O'Reilly part menu, and we're gonna clear all of this off because I already know that this is old stuff. So get that off of there. Now we'll retag this belt. That way we got one list. Alright. So we can go ahead and pull this off now. Should have pretty much fell off on the floor. Alright, let me zoom out because you can't really see the engine. Alright, we keep rollers in stock. I got all of them. I got a bunch of these. Oh, power steering pump is a 3%, so it is gone. That explains. Now see, the car didn't even really feel like it. I could tell sitting still that the power steering pump was not really working that well. But because the car has most of the weight in the back, there's really no weight on the front axle, so it was still kind of easy to steer even without power steering, so I couldn't really tell. But I could tell whenever it was sitting still, it was kind of hard to turn the wheel. I'm just surprised this thing wasn't making any noises whenever I cranked it up with no oil pan on it. That's what's getting me. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Yeah, we got to get that. I know we do not have these oil filters in stock. I don't know. Let's see. Nope. That's another O'Reilly part. And this oil pan for sure. Alright, so we got those parts tagged. Let's go ahead and pull the front harmonic balancer off, or crankshaft pulley. Why are you not? Oh, okay, I see what's going on. I don't know, maybe there was like some protective tab that... Why is it not letting me pull the... Oh, okay, this is one of those weird crankshafts where half of it's behind this timing belt cover. I wonder why they designed it like that. Alright. There we go. Oh, okay, so they got this crankshaft pulley that that works as a timing belt. Okay. Alright, that's pretty cool. I know there was some engineering that went into that, because normally they go around a small sprocket back behind this, but this is the timing belt lower pulley. It's a timing belt pulley and harmonic balancer built all into one, so you know this thing is balanced. Let's go ahead and get this other timing belt cover off. Man, the salt water ate this motor up. That's alright, he gonna enjoy it out here in the desert. We ain't got no moisture for miles until it rains. So we ain't gotta worry about rust here. We just gotta worry about the winter times whenever the snow is like 4 foot on the ground outside. When it does snow here, it don't ever snow, so we don't ever hardly get snow here, but if it does, it's gonna be there. I just ain't never got it at the shop before, so let's get this timing belt tensioner off. Let's put the cardboard box over our head like I Do Cars does. Man, that's my favorite YouTube channel. I love watching that. It's this guy that his channel is called I Do Cars, and he owns a salvage yard, and he gets these engines, these core engines that are completely destroyed, and he pulls them apart, and that's basically what his channel is based on. He tears down all types of car engines and motors, and he has right now the Honda V6 holds the record for being the most destroyed engine. You have got to look this thing up. I've never seen an engine come apart like this. Check out his channel. His channel is called I Do Cars, and look up the Honda V6, the blown up Honda V6 Accord motor. Dude, that thing was so bad. There was literally not one piston left in the hole. Like everything was gone. It was shrapnel all through the motor. But hopefully we don't find nothing like that in here. Which, from what I looked at it, I looked up underneath. Everything looked pretty good. So I just may have did some damage to the bearings, which we're going to replace them anyways. Oh, wait a minute. Man, I'm talking, not keeping up with my work. Alright, we're going to need a V6 water pump. Oh, we're going to need cam gears for sure. We'll need 4 of them. Alright. And back to remove. Let's get this idler off. Another saltwater victim of an idler pulley. I don't know how water even got into here, but maybe from a leaking water pump. Yeah, look at there. We got a bad bolt, so it was leaking water out of the water pump. We'll go ahead and throw some new head gaskets on here. We're going to get this thing ready for him. Alright. Cam gears. Now, I wonder how they designed the cams on here. If this is going to be a solid piece that holds it down, or if they're going to have a ton of cam caps on here. Let's pull this off. Alright. Boy, that thing right there, if you ain't got the special tool, you ain't getting that off. It's keyway, but these on this engine, that harmonic balancer loves getting stuck on this shaft, this crankshaft, especially if it was exposed to rust. But I got the little tool that grabs it. You can rent it from O'Reilly's. It's a harmonic balance puller. It's got these 3 arms that attach to it, and it's got a big bolt in the center that pushes on the end of the crankshaft and pulls the harmonic balancer off. You know, spray it down with some penetrating oil, because I actually have broke those tools trying to take them off. But one thing I do like already, the 3000 GT engines did not have at that point in time. This was early technology back in, you know, well, I ain't gonna say it come out. I started seeing cars with electronic ignition coils back in the late 90s. So this is kind of still new technology nowadays. Heck, they got ignition coils that support all 3 or 4 cylinders built into one big coil pack. But this is kind of early technology for this car, so this thing had a really good ignition system on it. And let me see. Oh, they running them cheap plugs in here. Well, those are RDX race performance plugs, so they're not the boo-boo plugs that we normally pull out of vehicles. So, all right, looks like the ignition coils or coil packs are still good, so we can put them back onto there. I don't know, I may throw them some new ones on it, because I can get a lot of copper out of those ignition coils. Alright, so we got that. So now we are ready to pull off the cylinder head covers. Oh man, this thing's got 2 different ones. Let's see how this thing's designed. Oh, at the rust. At the rust on here. WD-40's cutting this stuff out of here. Alright. So yes, it does have like a cam cap. It's one big assembly that holds the camshaft in. I like that design. Kind of like the K-Series has. It's got one big old cover. Well, this one's got 2 separate cam caps on it. You got a cam cap, camshaft bearing cap B. And it looks like for the most part that stuff looked pretty good. So pull this off. There we go. Oh yeah, this would be a simple motor to work on. Real easy. You can slip the camshafts out now right through here. Camshafts are 82. We're gonna throw them in our machine shop over here, and we're going to get them repolished and get the camshafts back up to play. If too much of them's been worn off, we'll TIG weld them up. We'll break out the computerized TIG welder and let it weld a couple of passes, and we can regrind the cams and polish them back down to where there's no metal missing on them. So yeah. Alright. So far, most of this engine looks fairly good. We ain't even got to do a whole lot to it, except for the bottom end, thanks to me, but looking good. Whew. Alright. There we go. And it uses camshaft against, see, up here is where your valves are. They're up underneath these valve, it's like a flat tappet cam. Your cam pushes up against this and pushes this up and down, which opens and closes the valves. And these are, I call them valve buckets, the tops of them. But these will pop off, and you can actually take the valve seats out and pull the valves out of the head. But anyways, let's see. All right, so we got our thermostat housing on the back. It's got to come out. And we'll go ahead and pull these exhaust manifolds. These exhaust manifolds are, it's like they're made out of a different metal. They're a lot darker, so they may have a ceramic coating on them to help disperse heat. Yeah, because you got to think, that whole engine, the only thing that's separating you from the heat of that motor is just that cover in the back. Now, that cover's got a lot of sound deadening and insulation, so you really don't feel the heat from the motor too much in the car, and it also keeps the engine noises down. Could you imagine not having that cover in the back and then having a performance like a straight pipe exhaust system on here, like a 3-inch something? You would be deaf. That's all you would hear inside the car. Okay, so this is what. Oh, these are built into the head. Okay, so these covers right here are actually built into the head itself. Alright. Like I said, this is the first time I tore down one of these engines. Having to look at this Chilton manual over here and make sure I'm doing it right. Alright. What do we got here in the block? I don't know what this stuff is. I'll have to refer to the manual on that. Let's see. What are the heads looking like? Uh-oh, got a bad bolt. Got some rust. Head is 82%. So, and then this stuff, I'm not really sure. I guess that's the, it's not a cam phaser. Maybe a knock sensor? I'm not really sure. It's some type of sensor right there. But let's go ahead and get this thing flipped over and start breaking down the lower end of this engine, which I am 100% responsible for since I cranked it up without an oil pan, but nobody put that in the memo. Of course, I didn't check the work order on it until after I washed it off, because I was so eager to get into it and crank it up and drive it to the wash bay. It's alright. We'll put a new rotating assembly in, or at least some new bearings. Yeah, we'll get some new bearing caps for it. They ain't too damaged. They're 75%. I'm pretty sure they were up to at least 80 something before I did what I done. This is where it's gonna matter at on this crankshaft. 76. Ooh. We're gonna re-machine them. Alright, let's get the pistons out. Pistons are gone. They are fried. The rings are gone. The piston and the connecting rods are still, they're green. There's a yellow one. That's a caution. It's at the halfway of its life. Let's see about this crankshaft. Crankshaft was still good, and of course we are going to put the block in our cleaner, and we got a huge tank that's got a, I forgot what it is. It's like a micro cleaner. It sends vibrations through a cleaning solvent and it shakes it off. I forgot exactly what it's called, but I call it a micro cleaner. But anyways, let's go ahead and get this block off. We'll go ahead and get it cleaned up. Got that going, and let's go check on this while the block's being cleaned up, because I think, yep, we got the bumper. Alright, so O'Reilly's dropped off our bumper. Let's go ahead and get this thing put on. It's got a few body clips we can put onto there and some bolts. Nothing major, but let's see what color it is. And it figures it's going to be a black bumper, so we're going to have to take that back off and we're going to have to paint match this car. So, and I don't even know what, give me the information. Factory color was red, current color is white, so it looks like it's just a regular white. I want to say like a gloss white, so we'll go ahead and repaint it. But anyways, guys, Jamie is in there having a fit right now. My phone is going off constantly, and she is ready to call it a day. We really wasn't even supposed to be working on a Saturday. Those are normally the days that we go to the track and race our cars. We sold our Eclipse, you know, our eighth of a mile killer that we had. So it was a championship eighth of a mile car, but we ended up selling it. We got our pocketbook back up, you know, thank the Lord he found a buyer for us, and we're going to be working on that Supra. I don't know what the Supra is going to be. Is it going to be a half, a quarter, or an eighth? I'm going to try to build that one for a quarter mile. We've already got a half mile championship car, which is the DrivenByChrist drag car. It's kind of like a Challenger with a V8, a supercharged V8 in it. It's fully built. So, and I don't know what we're gonna do with this SUV over here. I was gonna build that for an attorney, but you know, they end up backing out on it. But I don't know. Still thinking about it. I may move it into a lockup and we may worry about it later and go ahead and bring the Supra in. We may get a customer that may request this, or I may talk to my boy over here, because I think he was saying something about his sister was needing a car. We can hook this thing up, but she one of them girly girls. We may hook this one up with like a pink or a purple, but I don't know. His sister driving this with this big V8 in there. I don't know if that's going to be a good thing or not, but you know, we'll just have to pray about all that. But anyways, guys, I only got a few more minutes on my camera battery, so we're going to go ahead and call it. This is the end of the day, Saturday, and I will catch y'all Monday morning whenever we return back to work. So hope y'all have a good weekend. You know, overall, just, and all I can say is the Lord wants us to help people whenever they're in help. You know, they may have done you wrong before in the past, but we have to learn to forgive people and help them. Now, sometimes on things, if it's just, you notice they just keep doing it over and they know you're going to be the fool that's going to help them, hey, I know there's a clear verse in the Bible that says don't waste holy things on unholy people. Now, I ain't ever ran into somebody like that, but I hope I don't ever have to tell somebody, no, I can't help you. So that's just not part of my vocabulary. I don't like that. But anyways, guys, Jamie is probably physically come out here and throw something at me, so I will catch y'all Monday, and I'll catch y'all on the next episode of Driven by Christ Auto. Later.